back to the ASCENT podcast. My name is Brian, and I'll be your guide today as we continue to work our way towards self excellence. I have a very special guest joining me right here live, and what we're going to get into talking about today is how millennials and Gen Z are really helping to shape and guide our future. And for old heads like me, that's some new learnings and some new things that we need to be able to learn how to approach some things differently, expand our minds, and just be willing to understand where they come from and why they come from the different areas that they do. So here we are. Let's get started. Joining me this morning is Heaven Nelson. And Heaven, she's barely awake because it's kind of early here where we are. But recent college graduate, she's born right on the cusp, kind of between the millennial generation and Gen Z. So she's kind of got a little bit of perspective on both sides of that. What we really want to start talking about this, since she is a recent college graduate, is to start off talking about education. And really want to just pose the question of her. She's gone through that full process. She's graduated with her degree in business management. How does she feel about our educational system? And was all of that really worth the experience, the expense, and everything else? So, how about you just share a little bit with everybody how you felt about that whole journey?
Well, hello, good morning. I'm Heaven Nelson. Yes, I recently just graduated from Grambling State University, and honestly, it's like it's a pro and a con for as far as going to college. First starting off, spending all the money on tests to get into the school, application fees, and it's just such a hassle, such a struggle just to get into a school. But I will say, like, as far as school itself, I love going because it gave me a different experience for life. It let me be able to be a grown up, but also be a child at the same time. I was able to experience doing things on my own, but still being able to fall back and lean on my parents. Um, I will say that's something that I did like instead of just automatically going into the adult world. Just working, not really having more responsibility than I needed to, and so on and so forth. But as far as school itself, I guess it's just because I went through COVID. So maybe if I would have went when it was a different time period, I would have been able to learn more and things like that. But I feel like as far as like the time period that I went to school, it wasn't the best time because we transfer everything to online. And once we transfer everything to online, the teachers didn't care, we didn't care. It was more or less just trying to get a grade in the grade book and making sure I passed the class. So I will say because I went when I did, it wasn't the best decision just because we wasted our money. But I will say it was the best decision because it helped me experience life without having to fully grow up. Um, as far as like class wise and everything, starting off I did used to have to go to class freshman year and things of that nature. But once it hit like my in the freshman year to going into my sophomore year, it was just a lot of on class work, um, online work. And me personally, I can't teach myself. It's just not gonna happen.
Mm.
I've tried, and if it's not something that's already in my brain or that my brain wants to learn, it's not going to process it. It will go through one ear and out the other just because I'm not understanding what I'm reading. I'm not understanding what the term of what I'm looking at. Like I don't understand anything. So it did get to the point where I was just trying to make sure I turned in and had a good grade, honestly. But in my time period, no, I didn't think it was worth it. But then again, I do think it, as far as class wise and like the knowledge of college, but as far as like the experience and just what I went through and everything that helped mold me into the person I am today, I will say it was a great experience to be able to go to college, especially nowadays with young ladies and stuff. It's either, you're at school and you're having fun or you're at home and you're pregnant. So it's like you really have them two choices. And me personally, because I come from a small town, those were really the only two choices. And the small town that I come from, it's not a lot of people that get out of the town. Usually, once you're there, you're stuck there, and that was a generational curse that I wanted to break for my family, like for me and my family. On my dad's side, my mom's side already started the college process and everything, but as far as my dad's side, I just wanted to break that curse. of not really going nowhere, still staying in Nacogdoches and everything. So I was actually very happy to go to school, even if it did mean like, okay, I might not be learning what I need to learn, but I'm still learning what I need to learn, even if it's not what I came here for. Um, I will say, as far as like college wise, it is best to go to college if you know what you're going into. You actually need to know what you're like, what you need to know, like doctors, lawyers, things of that nature, like anything that you know for a fact that it's nothing but book work. And as far as book work, that means like terms, knowing what this means, knowing what that means and what it can do for a person and stuff like that. As far as like business management and things like that nature, a lot of people don't go to school for business management. I went to school because I just was bored and didn't want to stay at home. So I went to school and I just wanted to experience the college life, which I'm actually grateful that I did do that. But I don't, not necessarily everything needs to go to college for. You don't have to go to college. It's best to go to college to experience life without having to be an adult, but it's also kind of a waste of money if you don't really need to go. So, like business management, you really don't need to go because you can really learn a lot of those things outside of going to school, because you're going to have, eventually you're going to get to the point where you meet people, you're networking and you have mentors. Even if it's, you've been in the game for 15 plus years, you're going to have people that's been in the game for 35 plus years. So it's always going to be someone there that can lend a hand and help you with more knowledge and just, tell you what you can and cannot do, give you the ups and downs and the runarounds for the business without necessarily having to go take that 4 years out or that 2 years out just to get a degree.
All right, great. Thanks for sharing that. So I've got a couple questions. One would be, obviously you had, I think maybe your first year or so of school was the normal college, right,
Mhm.
where you had to go to class every day and have all that social interaction. Then obviously, as you said, COVID kicked in. Um, when that shifted, and obviously you lost not just the educational piece of it, but also the social piece of
Mhm.
college. How was that from just mentally dealing with that? And did you feel still engaged and connected with your friends, or did everything just kind of derail completely for you?
Well, I will say like around COVID time, a lot of my first friend group when I first got there, they didn't come back. A lot of them, so it was like okay, a kind of a shift change to having to go from having a new group of friends that you I already done met to having to, socialize, put myself out there, meeting with friends. But the school that I went to, because I went to a HBCU, so it's like I'm filled with nothing but my people, and that's one thing I will say. It was never hard to do, like socialize wise, because it's like you're more comfortable when you're around the people that you're comfortable with.
Hmm.
So it was never really just hard for us to get back out there and start back socializing, because honestly and truly, even though we were on lockdown and stuff like that, we still had a time, we still partied, we still did everything we wasn't supposed to, because you only live once, right?
You only once, right? Yeah, and you're in
So
school.
it was really, it wasn't that bad as far as like certain schools where people were really like, people were straight going to where they need to go and go straight home, wearing their masks all the time, being making sure they practice social distance and stuff like that. With us, we did do those things, but it was more or less like we're in college. If we die from COVID, we die from COVID at this point. But as far as like us and letting COVID take over our college years, I can honestly say Grambling didn't let that
Didn't let
happen.
that happen.
As far as the students, yeah, the faculty and everything made sure they try to keep all social distance and everything for COVID all aware to us, but it really didn't stop us from having fun. So that's one thing I will say. It just stopped us from really being connected to school. That's the only thing I will say. It really stopped a lot of people, like as far as our connection to wanting to learn and stuff like that's where it really stopped at, because it was just like we're learning this online, and a lot of us, because we are at the HBCU, which that's the reason why a lot of black people do go to HBCUs, because we're around a lot of our culture and our people. So it's like we all understand each other. We don't have to feel like we have to put a front like, oh, I know everything, when in reality you might not know everything, you might need a little bit more help. And I feel like that's why it's great to go to a HBCU, because you can have that help and not feel like anybody's judging you
Hmm.
because you might not pick up everything as fast as somebody else does.
Excellent. I was going to ask that question going to a historically black college if you felt that um, from a college experience, and obviously you didn't have a chance to go to a traditional
Hmm.
college outside of that realm, but did you feel that you gained a lot from that culturally and all of that by having
Hmm.
that experience?
I definitely will say that it definitely taught me a lot of things. It taught me how to deal with my own culture and my own like ethnicity and all my people. It just taught me how to go about things without making things worse than what they could be. As far as like being around a lot of females, being around a lot of guys and stuff like that. Being able to just connect with everybody. So it was very, I will say, with going to a HBCU was very different. And because I went from a high school that was predominantly white people to going to a all black college where everybody is technically the same. Like that's really that's like that's what everybody is. Like everybody's the same. Nobody feels like they have to put on the front for somebody else. Like yeah, you do have those students that might be smarter than everybody else in the class. You're gonna have those 3.0, 4.0 students that make that every semester. But you also gonna have those same students are also gonna be the main ones in the group chat. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna send y'all the answers. Or, oh, okay, I'm gonna help you. Let me know if you need any help with anything like that. Compared
Mm.
to like going to a predominantly white institution where there's more than likely not a group chat. If
Right,
there is a group chat, it's literally just to put in the note, not even the notes, just let them know this is what we learned today, and y'all have to go read that
right.
and stuff like that. But like at Graham, where everybody literally helps everybody, we have group chats on top of group chats on top of group chats, just for people to be able to get the work done, get the work turned in. And like I said, compared to other schools, like you're not gonna get that. You're like anything, you're gonna be more scared to even ask because you're gonna feel like why would I give you the answers? I had to sit here and do all the work. I had to
Right,
sit here and read
right.
this. So why would I just let you have it? Like no.
Mm-hmm.
And that's feel like that's how it is at certain institutions compared to at ground where yeah, you might did put in that work to get the answers and stuff like that, but you're still willing to help because you know like we're all here for each other.
Of each other. Absolutely. So I want to follow up on something you brought up too when talking about the college experience. And you were saying, obviously if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like
Hmm.
that, that yes, you obviously have to have that
Hmm.
educational piece of it. But certain acumen, like you were talking about business management, you might not have to go to college for that. And you said there are other ways that you can learn or teach yourself those same things.
Hmm.
If you had to do some of that, what would you be? Would it just be reading books, YouTube,
Um,
private courses?
so
How would
I
you approach
will
that?
say like this generation, we have a lot of people that just like you said, private courses. TikTok is probably one of the most biggest networks going on right now that you can even think of. You can learn so much off of TikTok, and like as a older person, you'll be like learning stuff off of
TikTok,
TikTok. What do
right?
you mean you learn stuff? Like that's just an app that you people sit there and laugh at. Like that's what you mean. But in reality, you really have people that's on there educating people about a lot of stuff beyond just laughing, dancing, cooking. Like people, you have actual people that's on there doing realtor classes. You have people on there doing Airbnb classes. You have people doing accounting classes. You have people really doing a lot of like how to start your own business from the ground up to the point where you're at your LLC and you're getting all these your IPN, your EPN, and everything else. Like you have people that's actually on there doing what you go to school for, but just putting it on social media to where it's access to everyone, and you're only paying this small portion of a fee.
Hmm.
And yeah, some people you might feel like, well, how am I supposed to know that these people even know what they're talking about? As you continue to watch videos, you're gonna slowly be able to know if somebody knows what they're
They're talking
talking
about
about, or if
sure.
they're just talking in circles. Like you're gonna know, and then if you're doing your own research and you know that this is what you want to do, certain things are gonna line up to what they're saying also. So it's just like, okay, well, I heard this already before. Oh, I heard this already before. Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. And it's just like if everything's lining up and you feel like then you know what they're talking about, why not take that course and do what you have to do to get to where you're going? Um, like I said, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and that's why I also say like with our generation, we are very technology, like we are very technology based. We on our phones 24/7, and it'd be a good thing, but also it could be a bad thing. But I will say that social media does help in a lot of certain ways. Like you can, like for me, I'm a hairstylist, so I can be on social media and be like, okay, well, I can just be sitting there scrolling through my phone, and I can see a style that I always that I've never seen before. Boom, they automatically put an image or a, a plan in my head that I want to, like, let's say I want to do that, or let's say I wanted to create that same exact style. Now I'm in the predicament of like, okay, well, I need to find a person I can do this on. Okay, I found somebody to do it on. Now I can project my work onto her so I can post it, and I can basically show the world that I can do the same thing as somebody else,
Mm.
and just as good as they can also, and being able to promote my business in a different way, because like, okay, not everybody might have seen that hairstyle, so why not be able to do it?
Do
So
this as that, right? Yeah, absolutely. So I think you made a very important point that a lot of people overlook, because obviously, as you said, social media and
mhm,
everything, everybody thinks it's cat videos and people doing
mhm,
dances and stuff like that, which it is. A
mhm,
lot of that is out there, but it just like really social media, and I think what some of the old heads like me need to get our head around is it's a tool, and just like any tool, it can be used either positivity and finding things, educating yourself, or it can just be simply entertainment, right?
mhm,
And so it's all about how you approach it. So it's very interesting that you positioned it that way to say that you could really go out and educate yourself with, like you said, the YouTube and social
mhm,
media things like Facebook and Instagram, TikTok. TikTok obviously being one of the newer ones, and I think, especially for the previous generations, that's outside of it being entertainment based, that's just a thought I never even considered. Because obviously YouTube obviously has a ton of
mhm.
things like what we're doing right now on YouTube, but I never thought of TikTok in that way. So that's interesting to know that there are people on TikTok. We're not just doing 60-second videos
Mhm.
on, watching a cat dance or something like that. So um,
They're definitely on there doing podcasts, doing classes. Like, you'll be surprised. Like, I feel like TikTok watches you out, too. They know what you like, they know what you don't like, and that one thing I would say is a scary kind of thing, because it's just like you could be talking about something, or you could be looking up for something, saying that, oh, I wanted to do this and I want to do this, and then as soon as you get on TikTok, boom, it's right there in
it's right
front of
there in
you.
front of you.
Or you, like with me, it was a couple of times where I've been saying that, I wanted to get into the Airbnb business. I get on TikTok, it's multiple videos back to back talking about Airbnb businesses and how to start it off, or a way to become a social influencer, being able to just, like, it's so many different videos and stuff out there, and it, like you said, it is beyond just laughing and entertainment. It's actually like people actually be putting knowledge into a lot of people's head, and I like that, because it's just like, I don't, TikTok University. That's all I can say. And a lot of people say, a lot of people have went to TikTok University, and they like have made a lot of money in the past couple of years since TikTok has came out, and it just helped put them on different ideas and everything like that. Because I really didn't get the idea to do vending machine or Airbnb business until I was on TikTok, and I just seen a lot of good reports about it, and
Hmm.
how good the income is without really having to do a whole lot of work, and just being able to start different businesses uh, that don't really require a lot of time. It just requires for you to think smart and do what you have to do and get it done.
Get it done. Never heard that term before, TikTok University, but I think that is
Mhm,
awesome. So
mhm,
mindset shift for those of us who kind of think it's just, as I said, cat videos and people dancing. You can truly educate yourself and learn about a specific niche that you might want to get into. As she said, Airbnb and how to run an Airbnb business, or she's also thinking about getting into a vending machine business, and so she's learning all of those different things. Uh, Believe it or not, on TikTok of all places.
mhm,
So that's a great thing to hear. And again, that's, as I said, just wanted to kind of bring this to everyone's attention, just the thought process that they have, because it is a tool and they're just using it differently than we think they're using it. Because in our minds, we see, a 20-year-old on the phone, and in our minds, they're looking at, funny videos and this, that, and the other thing, and possibly using it totally differently based on whatever searches they've done and what their true interests are. And you mentioned the last piece of it, and I want to bring up the money that people are making,
mhm,
not just as because it used to be social media used to be, and I'm going to use the term influencer. That's what
mhm,
everybody wanted to be. I want to be a social media influencer, right? And so it was more like a popularity contest than anything. But I think what people have found out is, yes, that influence also has dollar signs attached
mhm,
to it, right? And that's the other piece that we need to to really start to understand. It's not just a popularity contest. You can leverage that if you use it right, again, because it is a tool, and actually make a decent income. And with that, I want to transition kind of from talking about education to talking about work, jobs, right? Obviously now you're at that point where you're having to make those decisions about what type of work do I want to do? Do I want to go work for someone? Do I want to have my own thing? Give us some of your thoughts as to which the benefits, both positive and negative, that you see on both sides of that.
Well, since I'm a hairstylist, so I had an incident a couple of years ago to where I had to stop doing hair, and it was in a point in my life where I was taking hair seriously, but I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I went from one maybe two heads a month to 6 months later 5 to 6 heads to 7 heads a week. And yeah, it don't sound like a lot, but it is a lot to go from 1 to 2 every month to 7 to 6 to even 8 a week. So it was something very different for me. But once I started back doing hair and I actually started to take it more seriously, started promoting myself and everything like that, my business skyrocketed. And I'll say in the last 3 years, I've my business has went so far than what it ever has been, and I really love that for myself. It gets to the point where during the school year, I honestly don't have to work for a whole year until I will say like until summertime comes, and that's when everybody has to go home and everything like that. Business does get kind of slow, but it feels good to know that I can get things done, pay my bills and everything without having to necessarily go work for somebody else. Because, like I said, it went from 1 to 2 heads a month to being able to pay my bills with doing just hair, not having to have a side job, not having to go work somewhere else, and things of that nature. Um, and so when I do, like when it is time for me, when business does get slow and it is time for me to go, work for somebody else, it's always a challenge for me. I will say that because I'm the person that does not like to be told what to do. So it's like it's a bad thing because I can be at a job and I can feel like they're bossing me around, and which they're supposed to kind of, but it's just like I'm so used to working for myself. I don't like people telling me what to do, and I rather inform me like, hey, we're probably gonna do this, we're gonna try to get this done, da da da. But I hate for a person to be like, oh, you need to be doing this. Why are you just sitting there? Or I can be trying to. I feel like, and I was just telling my grandpa the other day, like some people work a 9 to 5 every day, 5 days throughout the week. People get up in the morning and say, I hate going to work. Why? Because when they get to work, they don't have no break. They don't feel comfortable where they're at. They feel like it's nothing but work, 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 work. No relaxation. And it's like sometimes it's like a lot of these jobs be people careers that they're stuck with for the rest of their life. So it's like you're going to work to be stressed the whole day to get home and be looking like when you get home because it's no it's not even relaxation. It's no comfort at work. And I will say that's one thing that I love about my job. I have comfort in my work. Like I feel comfortable going to work. Yeah, I might not want to sometimes, but I feel very comfortable going to work because I don't have somebody over my shoulder making me feel like I can't breathe.
Mm.
And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of bosses or managers don't understand. Like as a employee, we don't ever want to feel like we can't breathe. And that's what happens a lot of time at jobs and stuff like that. We don't ever want to feel like we can't ask for anything or we can't talk to our managers because they're going to be like, well, I'm sorry, you can't do that because we need you. I had a lady at a salon one time tell me, like basically I don't want you to go home to make your own money, I want you to stay here and make mine. So it was just like very like wow, like how could you, like how would you say that and feel like that's necessary if you like, and you were the main person saying, you want to see somebody grow, and that's what they usually, about managers, and like, oh, we want to see you grow. This is a career. This is an opportunity. We want to see, how far you can go in this company and everything like that. But in reality, it's just like once I really start working here, I don't feel comfortable enough to escalate or to elevate in my job, because I don't even feel comfortable enough to be around y'all. I don't even feel comfortable enough to be at work in general, because it's just feel like somebody's breathing down my throat or stepping on my neck every day. And I will say, as a young person, that's something that we're not comfortable with. Um, we don't want to feel like, also, we don't want to feel like we're working these 8 to even 12 hour shifts, getting paid less than $20 an hour for me to work my butt off and not feel like and basically feel like in reality you're really not making nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you, because like once them checks start coming in, yeah, you might be making like 17, $18 an hour, but in reality it's just like I'm working my butt off to make $17, $18 an hour, but I don't even like where I'm working at, so I'm just forcing myself to basically go to jail every day, do my time, go home, and half the time, that time that I'm doing and that money that's coming back home is only paying my bills. It's not even getting me to the point where I can have fun and enjoy myself on the weekends. The only way I can do that is if I save up. Then I can go enjoy myself on the weekends. Like, the system nowadays for work is getting to the point where it's not, it's like it's jail. You're going to work to do your time, to come back home, to pay your bills, to go back to work, to go to jail. Like, it's literally a cycle. Like, at this point nowadays, we're not even working to have fun. We're working to get stuff done. And as far as getting stuff done, that means bills, because everything's going up, everything's expensive. So it's like there's no more, like, oh yeah, I can make, you can be making $30 an hour. If you got bills, a car note, a phone bill, Wi-Fi, electricity, if you have all these bills, you're only making that much money to cover those bills, and you might have a few little play dollars afterwards. And it's just like I'm doing all this to hate to go to work every day.
Mhm.
And I just feel like if that's the case, I need to be able to enjoy myself when I go to work. I need to be happy when I get up in the morning, saying like, okay, I'm gonna go to work. Like, I'm very happy to go to work. And I will say with me, I can say at times I'd be very, very, like, I can do a 12-hour shift at home, but I can't do a 12-hour shift nowhere else. It just wouldn't work for me.
Makes sense. No, that's good to hear. And sounds what I'm hearing you say is you go to the job, there is a lack of value. You don't feel valued for what you
Mm-hmm.
bring. They don't show the appreciation, and as you said, it's like jail. It's almost as if they want to get everything that they can get out of you, but the
Mm-hmm.
reward of the dollar, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that amount is that they're paying you, just doesn't equate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel value, and the money doesn't make you feel any better about it. So then you shift to that side of the coin and say, you know what, I prefer to do the 12-hour shift and control my own destiny,
Mm-hmm.
basically, work for myself, whatever that looks like. So and this is the interesting thing with the millennials and Gen Z is they are coming out with that mindset from day one. And I think companies out there really need to start to get their head around, it's finding employees. And we're hearing right now about how tough it is for companies to find people to come and to work. And it's not about the money. And, companies are still focused on, well, we're going to give them a paycheck. They're looking for more than that. They want to feel valued. They want to feel appreciated. They want to feel like there is truly opportunity to grow and evolve within the organization. But if that's not the sense that you get, then
Mm-hmm.
you feel like, well, I don't want to do this. I'll go, as you said, do hair or
Mm-hmm.
sell stuff on eBay, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it might be. And
Because that's definitely what's going on now. Like nowadays, a lot of us young people, well, it's a lot of entrepreneurs compared to how it was probably a couple of years ago. Especially with, like I said, TikTok and stuff coming out and everything. People, it's so many things that you can do to work on your own to get paid for. It's crazy. So it's just like, why go work for a person who's really not even going to appreciate me, make me feel like a slave, and only get paid this much of a dollar when I can be at home? And not even just at home, I could be somewhere else doing my own business, making my own money, telling my own self what to do, having my own lunchtime, break time, and still making the same amount of money plus more, plus some, because more than likely you're going to end up always making a little bit plus some than what you would at a job. Like me personally, what I make in 2 weeks at a job, I make that in 1 week on a good week, and I can, and that's not, and honestly, that's probably more than what I can make at a job in 2 weeks. Honestly, especially if it's a good week. Go from making, because my mindset is I went from making, let's say, maybe $500 to $600 every 2 weeks to making $700 $800 a week. Or on a good day, if I have a good, very good week, I can make up to $800 within 2 days, just off of 8 clients. So it's just like, why would I why would I put that to the side to go work for somebody when I can be making top dollar at home and still feel like I succeeded at life, because I'm my own boss. Like, I can tell myself what to do. I can move how I want to,
Yep.
and I feel not valued.
And and obviously you feel that way, and I'm sure obviously going to school and all of that, that's probably the same sentiment that a lot of your classmates had, and their approach to what they're looking at as they're going through the process. I want to back up one step because I do want to bring in, obviously you said you've been doing hair. When did that motivation come, and what took you in the direction to want to be a cosmetologist?
So before my ninth grade year, I used to want to be a lawyer, but like I always knew that school wasn't my best thing. I'm the type of person where I get off track very fast. I can't, like, if it's not something that I really like or really want to do or really understand, I'm not going to put my full and all attention into it. So, um, it was at a point in time I was like, okay, well, I did want to be a lawyer, but I don't want to go to school for another 8 plus years. So what am I going to do? So eventually, one day we had went to a school. Me and my mom was moving back to Houston. We went to a school. We was doing a tour around the school, and they had a cosmetology section. And my dad was he went to cosmetology. He got his barber's license and stuff like that. And when I was young, I used to love playing with Barbie dolls and playing with their hair. Like my grandma and them used to give me just the little Barbie doll heads, where it's like the shoulders and the head, and I used to just play with their hair and everything. So like when I got to ninth grade, I told my mom, well, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to do cosmetology. So that following year, when I went back to Nacogdoches, she went to the school to do my schedule, which I'm so happy I told her about. I will say, because of her, she's the reason why I have my license. But she remembered what I told her from that year before, and she basically put me in cosmetology my sophomore year, which that was the first year starting off with cosmetology. So I did my 3 years of cosmetology and graduated with my license. So now it made me a certified cosmetologist. And I started getting more serious, like I said, after my accident. I started taking hair way more seriously. I don't know what the drive was. I don't know where the clientele came from, because, like I said, I went from doing 1 or 2 hits, only getting 1 or 2 hit clients a month, to literally going back to do hair for Christmas. And for the full 2 weeks of Christmas, I was booked up the whole 2 weeks. And it was crazy, because it's like I went from, not doing hair at all to booked. And I will say, I think that's what really drove me. It was just like, okay, having like people noticing you. You just need to start putting in the work a little bit more so you can stay noticed and stay relevant. That's one thing about being an entrepreneur and like having your own business. You have to stay relevant.
Mm.
And once the money started to come in, and I seen how consistent and how fast I can make $300 without having to go to work for 2 weeks, it was over with. It was just like, why would I go back and wait 2 weeks for a paycheck when I can get paid every day? That's another reason why I say that I don't really too much care to work for somebody, because I get paid every day compared to getting paid at the end of a week or at
Right.
the end of 2 weeks.
Right.
And then majority of the time, other than me having to do my taxes and stuff when it is that time, I get to keep all my money. Other than buying products, like, I get to keep all my money. And I will say also, hair is always going to be a business that can never be taken over by robots. So we will always be a business, because nobody is going to let a robot give them a haircut. Nobody's going to let a robot braid their hair. Nobody's going to let a robot cut their hair, dye their hair. Nobody's going to let a robot do that. So hair will always be a business that's always popular, and always going to people are always going to need their hair done. That's another thing. Always. It might not be, and that's why I would say, like, I do want to be more versatile with my hair, because it might not be exactly what I specialize in, but people always gonna want their hair done every day. And like I said, they're not gonna let a robot in their hair. So hair will always be something that is popular.
That's I like hearing that. And I'm impressed with the self awareness because
Mhm.
obviously you were self aware enough at a very young age to
Mhm.
understand. Because obviously becoming a lawyer is as you, that's a long track to
Mhm.
run. I mean, the money and the accolades at the end of that road can be good, but it is a lot of work. And if you're self aware enough to understand that education is not your thing,
Mhm.
you realize that about yourself, and then you also realize something that you even as a child had a passion for. And that's something we hear people talk about a lot of times. I'm passionate about this, or I'm really interested in that. But as parents, a lot of the times when we can be guilty of trying to guide them into
Into it.
what we want them to do, or what we think the norms are. So this is a great lesson to hear her think. Going back to messing with Barbie heads, that that's something that's just has been in her since she was a very young child.
And I will say, I'm sorry, I will say that I'm very happy that I do have the parents and the family that I have that were okay with me saying like I want to be a hairstylist instead of saying, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an accountant, I want to be um a pediatrician. Like it's so much stuff that my family could be pressuring me to be, but the fact that they were so okay with me being a hair, just a hair, and like, and it sound like sometimes we're like, oh, you're a hairstylist, but in reality, hairstylists make a lot of money, very, very, very much so a lot of money. Like if you're a very known hairstylist and you're very popular, people that's making $2,000 every 2 weeks makes that in like literally sometimes depending on the prices they can make up to $2,000 a day depending on how many clients they have and just depending on what their prices are. It's very easy. So it's just like, yeah, I did want to be just a hairstylist, but a lot of the times just these hairstylists are making more money than business, not even business owners, accountants, sometimes nurses and stuff like that. Like if anything, where they actually make a lot of money, a lot.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely, you can. Well, that's awesome. And it is interesting. Like I said, as parents, and we in our minds, I know what's best for my child, or I want what's best for my child. But things have shifted, and the paradigms that we're used to have shifted in many different directions. And as she was saying earlier, TikTok University can teach them a whole different skill set, and we need to start to, I think, just be more open and be more aware to the as to the different directions and the different opportunities that are available to the younger people today, and try to, I think, be more supportive of that because she's obviously happy doing what she's doing. She feels more fulfilled than she would feel having to go to a 9 to 5, quote unquote, every day, even though she's putting in those same hours. I think that's an important piece to look at. Let's move on to something else because obviously you now have that entrepreneurial spirit in you, right? That's there. So moving forward with your future, what are some of the other ideas? What are some of the other things that you may want to do? And what are some of the things that maybe even your contemporaries, your friends, people that you went to school with, what are some of the trends and things that they talk about that we might not even consider just based on our generation?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I plan on doing hair for like another. I'm what 22 now. I plan on doing hair for probably like seriously for another probably like 10 years. And once I start dying down with hair, because I want to first open up my own shop, and then I want to get to the point where I have my shop going without me having to be there. So I do want to have also I think I do want to start a chain salon somewhere. I do not know where yet though, but I do want to do a chain salon with basically different aesthetics in there like makeup, lashes, nails, hair, one stop shop, cut hair cutting. Like it's just a full one stop shop, and I do want to make that a chain salon. But as far as like once I do get to, I'll say like around 34, 35, I do want to start being more serious with like Airbnbs and real estate. I want to flip houses because I used to watch videos and I love just like the process of seeing an old rundown house being flipped into something beautiful. And even then, I see things like that with Airbnbs. Like people will get a property, they'll remodel it, make it all look brand new, and make a killing off of that Airbnb property. I do want to own multiple of own multiple properties for my Airbnb business. I also want to own multiple properties in general that I rent out and lease out. Um, like I said, also I do want to start getting into the vending machine business beyond just chips and candy and sodas and stuff like that. Also, I do like when I get to a certain point, I do want to. That's why I want to do so much now, because when I hit 40, I don't want to do nothing but travel, and that's my plan. So I'm trying. I'm going so hard now at a young age, um, to be on top, so that by the time I do hit 25, 26, I'm already set. And then by the time I hit 35, all I got to do is just start my little business, do what I want to do for this real estate stuff, and then just relax. I feel like I've been going strong with working since I was like 15, 16. And at the age of 19, I had clients thinking I was 23 because of the age, because of how I acted and how mature I was and how I went about things and having my own apartment and stuff like that. So I started young, so I know by the time I do get to 25, I feel like as far as what I want to do in life, I'll have everything set in stone. I would just have to take that path to get to where I want to go.
Excellent. It's interesting you brought up something there. And traditionally, as I said, for the older generations, we, some of us came from that time when, you go to work for a company, you work 25, 30 years, you
Mhm.
retire, and, that's your path. And obviously, as you're hearing her say, by the age of 40, she wants to have built things to a place where it's travel and go
Mhm.
see the world and really enjoy your life. So that's a shift where just her mindset, her approach, her drive to want to get in and really want to do those things. And again, companies out there that need talent, because companies need people for the company to survive. It doesn't matter whether you're Apple, Microsoft, or the corner drugstore. Everyone needs quote unquote employees. But if this is the mindset of the younger generation, where what companies need to look at is, okay, what do we need to do differently to entice people to come and to want to work and to want to engage and be part of what we're trying to build too. So that's a mindset that I think companies and corporations really need to start to take a look at, because that pool is going to get more and more shallow as more and more young people start to go down the pathway she's going down right now. I think that's amazing. That's your focus. So we're going to wrap up. If there's anything that you can share, just your experience to maybe a young listener who's out there who's making decisions about college, not going to college, has an idea, what would you like to just share from your experience as what they might want to either look at or do or go investigate to try to move in the right direction?
Honestly, I will say go to college. Yeah, it might be a waste of money, might put you in debt. It might. But honestly, it's the best thing to do, because you get to experience the home away from home. You get to experience being able to meet new people without being in a cold world. And I won't say just a cold world, because the world is cold in general, but you're at school with a whole lot of young people that's trying to find they're trying to figure out their life just like you. We're all done going down the same path. We're all trying to figure out what we want to do in life. We're all just trying to be better. And that's one thing I will say with going to college. Like, everybody's trying to do the same thing. We're just trying to be better at what we are now. And I will say, like, yeah, it might have been a waste of money for me to go, but it was never a disappointment that I didn't, like, that I went. Like, I'm very excited that I went. I'm very happy to go. Even now, I really want to go back. But then again, it's nothing I really want to go back for. And it's only the only reason why I want to go back is because, honestly, like, I'm not ready for that grown up life just yet. Like, yes, I am grown. Yes, I do pay my bills. Yes, I do go to work. But it's just like, it's really starting to get to that point where it's like, okay, Heaven, you're getting to that age where you're grown now, and it's no more calling on mommy and daddy. It's no more asking them to fill out paperwork. It's no more, and going straight from high school to grown up, I will honestly say I would have hated it. I would have hated it. I did something like that during the summertime where I basically worked a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, for 2 months straight and didn't do nothing but go to work and go home. And when I say I wanted to cry every day, I want to cry every day. It's not something that's fun. I have a younger brother under me who's about to graduate in this next year, and I have taught him so much within the past year that he's wanting to follow in my footsteps. He went from wanting to be at the house all day playing games and not doing nothing to actually wanting to go work out, go to the gym. He'll go to. I called him at 10 o'clock at night, and he was telling me he was at the gym. But the fact that he went from, just laying down around the house and being a young boy to me telling him, okay, it's that point where it's like you're going to your senior year, you need to get a job, you need to start getting back active so you won't be, just big and lazy. And that might sound rude, but coming from a person that loves him, I think he was okay with me saying that. But, it's actually time to buckle in and lock in at a young age because, especially with him being a boy, they're more it's very easier for parents to feel like, okay, I'm gonna just push him out. Like, you're 18 now. You're gonna go do what you gotta do. You're a boy also, so you're gonna have to figure out how to be a grown man. You don't want to go to college. Okay, we'll go be a grown up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is, especially nowadays. And that's how it is with a lot of with a lot of parents in general to their kids. It's like, okay, you're 18. You do have some parents still that will cater to their kids no matter what age they are, but you have a lot of people nowadays just because a lot of these kids are having kids. You have a lot of people that's just like, okay, well, once they have their child and once their child gets to the age of 18, it's like, okay, well, now you're on your own. Like, go get out, you go get your own place, go get a job, do what you got to do, go pay your bills. And I feel like that's where a lot of people, you do have some people that end up having that lifestyle to where they just work every day, all day, a 9 to 5 or overnight shift, to where all they do they every day in their life is go to work and go home. And that's not a life that I would want anybody to live because it's very boring and it will drive you crazy. It will have you depressed and it will have you stressed because you're not doing nothing with your life. It's like you're literally putting your life to waste
Mm-hmm.
to go work for somebody that has your life miserable, all in order just for you to pay bills to live. And
Absolutely.
you're not even enjoying your life. You're just paying the bills so that you won't be on the street. So I do say go to college to experience stuff, especially if you're fresh out of high school. Don't wait. Go to college. Go have fun. Go party. Go do things that young people do. Even if you're older and you don't know if you want to go to college, go to college. Why not? It's always good to have something behind your name. That's what I will say though.
Excellent. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Hopefully, those of you who joined us got some value out of this. This is how millennials and Gen Z see the world and how they're shaping the world differently than, you know, our approach has been over the years. And we really need to start to I think, take it seriously and not be, we don't understand them and what their mindset is because their approach to life is a lot different. And we need to get on board with that because this train has left the station and it's moving and it's moving fast. So it's really us who need to get on board, not them. We are not going to be able to pull them back to our way. We're going to have to adopt to the way things are moving forward. So I think that's the key message. And then I want to thank Heaven. And I didn't say it earlier because I'm proud as can be. This is my granddaughter. So I'm very proud of who she is, who she stands
Thank
for, and
you.
the way she's approaching life. And I think, as all of you might agree, the things she wants to accomplish, she certainly will because she's self aware. She knows who she is. She knows what she wants. She's going to go get it. And I think that's
Mhm.
awesome. So that's going to do it. Heaven, say bye to everyone.
Bye,
Thank you all
everybody.
for
Thank you
joining us
again for
today.
having me.
And we'll see you soon. Take care. Take care of each other. Bye.